Hello, this is Brian Rengert bringing you another edition of Coffee in the Capitol. We are joined by State Representative Jordan Harris, Chairman of the House Appropriations Committee. Chairman, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Glad to be with you today. Listen, I'm just a normal guy from Philadelphia. I grew up in the district that I represent. It was great growing up in South Philadelphia with my mother and my grandmother directly across the street from each other, and just a sense of community that I was able to benefit from. And I've been serving in the legislature. January 1st of 2013.
How did you first decide to run for state representative?
Yeah, so, a lot of it came out of a sense of frustration about some of the things that I was seeing happening in my community and in schools and in education. I mean, I taught school for a little while, and then I worked in the education space, but also came from, just timing. The state rep at the time was going to be a member of City Council, Philadelphia. He's now actually the president of City Council, Council President Kenyatta Johnson. And the area that I grew up in was going to need somebody to represent them in Harrisburg. So it was just a marrying of the two, and it worked out well. And I've been blessed to be here.
Wonderful. PSATS represents over 1,400 townships across the state. How do you view the relationship or the role between townships and state government?
I think somebody called state government the laboratories of democracy. Well, if state government is the laboratories of democracy, then our local governments are literally the foot soldiers. My grandfather, who lives in a small city in South Carolina called York, was a councilman in York for years. Very small city. I remember his first election. We rode around in his car getting people registered to vote. And I think he won his first election with like 100 or 200 votes. That's how small the city of York was at that time. So I remember back in those days how important it was that local level of government in our small township. So for me, it's not a special interest, it's a partnership. We represent the same constituencies. You know what I mean? If you are a member who has these townships in your district, you represent the same people.
The governor recently unveiled his budget. Is there anything that you would like to highlight for local municipalities?
Yeah, I mean, mass transit funding, I think is important, not just for the Southeast, but for the whole state of Pennsylvania, making the state a friendlier place to do business. Businesses aren't just popping up in Philadelphia, but they're popping up in small cities and townships across the Commonwealth as well. And when those businesses pop up, they bring jobs, they bring revenue, and they bring people, right? A lot of times people want to live close to where they work. So the work that we're doing to make Pennsylvania a more business friendly state, I think helps townships as well. Funding that we're doing at the state level that lessens the load on local government to raise taxes, I think is important. A lot of times, sadly, what happens is when we don't do our job at the state level, local governments find themselves trying to find ways to, what my grandmother used to say, rob Peter to pay Paul. When you have those budget gaps at the local level, lots of times it's because we're not doing all that we can at the state level.
One of the issues that a lot of municipalities face are, the outdated and expensive legal advertising requirements that they're forced to go through. PSATS and a lot of our members have been working hard to modernize the advertising requirements, allowing for more options, whether that's posting things online, or in different spaces. Is that something that you would be interested in working with?
It's a conversation that needs to be had. I mean, we have to support our print media because let's be clear, you can't have a good democracy without a good press. And therefore, the support that we give to our local media is extremely important. With that being said, I think also there are modern things that we can do. So I think there's a way we could thread the needle where we can help local governments, but also help our local media continue to give folks the information that is necessary.
Great. And what do you see as the future for the state, and the vision for the next couple of years?
Well, I think what you're seeing is a lot of, there's more folks coming into the state level of government from local government. And, when you come into government, you don't shed your experiences, right? And you bring your experiences with you. And we benefit at the state level from those who have that experience. I could tell you in my own office, my executive director, who helps run the Appropriations Committee with me, is a former attorney for several municipalities in Delaware County. So when we're having discussions about certain things, she has a perspective that she brings to the table because of her work there. So, more folks getting elected from local government and coming to Harrisburg, more folks who are reaching out to their state level officials and sharing their insight, I think it's extremely helpful so that we can know how some of the policies that we're passing in Harrisburg actually affect our local government. A lot of times we fund and local government executes, so it's extremely important that we have a good connection between those levels of government.
And that is a great point. We are always encouraging our members to reach out to their local state house and state senate members as a way to advocate on behalf of the positions that are important to them, because they are the ones who are on the ground and understand what's happening. In closing, is there any advice that you would give to local officials and how they could be more effective in their roles?
Yeah, I just say continue to talk. Conversation is important. When I go in the supermarket, I run into people and they want to talk about different issues. I can only imagine what it's like in some of our smaller areas when you are the elected official that they see all the time and get to touch. I'm sure there's conversations all the time. Share that insight. When we go to Harrisburg, we're dealing with a lot of different issues at one time. Whatever insight that our local government can provide, I think is extremely important. There's no adversarial nature between the state government and our local government, because we have to be partners if we're going to serve our constituents the best.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman. I appreciate your time and look forward to watching the budget process unfold.
Thanks so much.
Have a good one.
Take care.